Welcome to the Steve Reeve Podcast with the best moments from the past week and a few things that didn't make it to air. Thursday.
James Van Der Beek, as he had passed away. He died after losing a battle with cancer, specifically colorectal cancer. He was diagnosed years ago and has been fighting that, battling that, and doing the best he can. With sad stories at the very tail end of his life about selling things that were from his career, artifacts and memorabilia from Dawson's Creek and other projects, having to fund his own medical care. And, that's just such a shame with the system that's down there. I don't want to get up on a soapbox necessarily, but just, that makes a person sad. He was somebody who entertained, and I that is a calling that I have mad respect for. When people are able to lift others up, distract them, give them a moment of escape or introspection, laughter, it's huge. It's so important. And often gets not the credit that it deserves. But this is a guy who was in our lives for so long. Dawson's Creek started in 1998 and was a cultural phenomenon for half a decade at least. 122 episodes, and he was the guy with the title, the name, the connection, Dawson. He also showed up as Dawson in a few different things, like Scary Movie, the very first one, though it is technically uncredited. And that is something that I did appreciate about his career and seeing him. He's kind of always around, and he had no problem making fun of himself. Not only did he show up as himself in several different things, including Jay and Silent Bob movies like Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back.
Holy you're the Dawson!
James Van Der Beek.
And what's up with Pacey stealing Joey away from you? If I was you, I would have drowned his ass in the creek.
Great, thanks, Jay. Thanks, so helpful. But I think probably my favorite role of his was technically not himself. You'll see that when he was playing just James Van Der Beek, even if it was kind of an exaggerated version, he's listed as himself, a very common credit on things out of Hollywood. But on Don't Trust the Bee in Apartment 23, he's actually listed as James Van Der Beek, and I did see that one of his co-stars from that show, Kristen Ritter, was mourning his death and posting about it online, and she had said she loved James Van Der Beek, both real and fake James Van Der Beek from that show. Just, a very wildly entertaining guy who, unfortunately, had a very, very tough lot at the very end there and a hard battle to be fought that he no longer has to worry about. We're going to take a minute here and then get back to what we usually do, which is trying to entertain and put smiles on faces. But it is a moment that the country is locked into the senseless violence, that's claimed lives in Tumbler Ridge. It's not an opportunity for anything but caring for the people that we share communities with, and as well parsing facts to seek prevention of such a horrible event in the future, if at all possible. If at all possible. It's certainly not an opportunity to further demonize a small and historically prejudiced segment of society. I really believe that. The facts are that the Tumbler Ridge shooter was sick, mentally unwell to an extreme, and was known to local police who visited their home several times over the last few years, as we've learned. They had a gun license that was at a time valid, but had expired. They dropped out of the very school that they targeted 4 years ago, and it is known now that they had begun to transition and were a biological male identifying as a female. This is a fact. This is the fact that has been latched onto and has been funneling hatred towards trans people as a whole. And however, of the 6,500 plus mass shootings on record that have occurred in the U.S. and Canada in total, 6 have been observed to be trans individuals shooting. 6 in over 6,000, which is a smaller percentage of the shooters than the population percentage of 0.5. More than 99% of the population identify as the gender that they were medically assigned at birth. The vast majority. So maybe, just maybe, the root problem here is something that affects the entire population. Maybe it's actually something that affects all of us. And I just hope that people find the path that directs the anger and the hurt inside towards something that actually changes, that doesn't cause more pain. So after saying that, I'd like to return to the grief that we're all sharing and maybe play some more music.
You're listening to the Steve Reeve Podcast from 100.5 Cruise FM.
It's time for Cruise Music News with Steve Reeve.
Looks like a team of independent forensic scientists and a researcher are digging up the situation with Kurt Cobain and the conspiracy theories surrounding his death. He did die at the age of 27 back in 1994, and the medical examiner in the area ruled that it was a suicide. Self-inflicted gunshot wound from a shotgun. This is very well-known information. However, new research that has been published in a peer-reviewed documentation has an exhaustive 3-day search over all evidence, and they say that it's not so simple. Now, I am taking it with a grain of salt, and I certainly will be a lot more skeptical if they announce they're writing a book about it, but very interesting. Maybe more information will come from this. Meanwhile, the Smashing Pumpkins are looking back 35 years to their debut album. They're going to be reissuing Gish on vinyl and more. The original release date was May 28th, 1991, and they are almost going to match that, as this new version will be out on May 29th of 2026. Pre-orders, of course, available already. And Morrissey dropping the ball not on a concert, which he's very likely to do. If you ever buy tickets to a Morrissey show, buy the insurance. But it's for his website, or at least the domain, Morrissey.com. The website was sold at auction. GoDaddy was the entity selling it, but Morrissey, the singer himself, did not enter a bid and says he has no affiliation with that domain. But his actual website, MorrisseyCentral.com, did post an update about it, so I guess it's all cleared up right there. That's it for your music news this morning. I'm Steve Reeve. Study finds that people fall passionately in love twice in their lifetime. That's lovely. You know, that's so romantic. Finding a connection with another person. Just don't be making any big changes if you're currently within fall number 1. You know, you're fine. You're good right where you are. You know, there's no need to worry about it. I feel like it's the fortune cookies from The Simpsons. Oh, we just ran out of... maybe you should find new love. Open up the barrel of stay with your wife. But you're fine. You're good. If you're on fall number 100, that might be a thing. I'm super unqualified, but that might be something to talk to someone about. Some reactions, though, to this study do find that that's a small number to face. People saying, only 2? Well, you know, they just have a lot of love to give.
Do you even go to this school?
No, I just have a lot of feelings.
Okay, go home.
Friday.
Not quite Valentine's Day yet. It is Friday the 13th today, but that does mean that February 14th, the most romantic day of the year, arrives tomorrow. And to make sure that... I love how I slipped right into the sexy voice. Oh, yeah. But we're going to give you an opportunity to send that message of love to the one you think needs it most. With a new crop of Fort Mac Valentines. That's right, they're back. 2026 edition Fort Mac Valentines. We're going to reveal the first of them coming right up for you. A tradition here on the show, every Valentine's, we offer up a crop of Fort Mac Valentines, specifically for the love of your life here in the RMWB. And I've got the first of the 4 that we have available for this year already shared for you. If you want to jump on, check it out, social media. Find us on Face Business. It's Cruise Radio Fort Mac. We're going to share them all in a blog at the website as well once all have been revealed. So you will have your pick of all of the best of the Fort Mac Valentines for 2026. Now, the first one up reads, "Call me Side Street, the way I need a plow." Just looking for some help, that's all. Beautiful image of a snow-covered street on there as well. I think they're going to love it. I really do. Going to be that special gesture that puts it over the top for 2026. And if that's not the one for you, we have 3 more coming this morning, so just stay chill and enjoy what's not quite Valentine's Day, but it's close enough.
Hey, Alexa, play the Steve Reeve podcast.
Got a few stories this morning, starting off with real evidence that there's new stuff coming from the Foo Fighters. They haven't put out an album since 2023's But Here We Are, which was the first album since the loss of Taylor Hawkins. But they've declared that whatever the title of the new album in 2026 is, it's finished, and they're dropping some evidence of that online with 11 snippets of new songs featured in what is bringing me back in time to the old days of the internet on their website, they've got an interactive page that has an image of like a bedroom, like a music lover's space. Guitar, dirty clothes, stacks of CDs, photos, posters of Foo Fighters, things like that. And yeah, interactive, so you can find the snippets of the songs in there. Very cool. Meanwhile, the outfit from the UK called Don Bronco has tapped Nickelback to help out with the title track of their new album. They've just released a single called Nightmare Tripping, which they say is inspired by sleep paralysis. Oh God, this is going to be scary. Now, Nickelback only, as I'm aware so far, only collaborating on one track on that album, and no news of new music from the Hannah Alberta boys directly. Meanwhile, a new biopic in the works. It looks like we're going to get the story of Mama Cass, based on her daughter's 2024 memoir that could be starring an actress named Jessica Gunning from Baby Reindeer, which I'm not familiar with, but I'm sure she's going to be a great pick. That's it for your music news this morning. It is Valentine's Day tomorrow, so we have a fresh batch of 4 new Fort Mac Valentines. This is a yearly tradition, an annual practice where we try to make sure that you've got something to express your love with that really feels like it's from right here in Fort McMurray, right here down home in the RMWB. And so I've got a set of 4. Pick the one that you think is going to have the most impact. Send that to your crush. Send that to your loved one. First one we shared today was Call Me Side Street the Way I Need a Plow. Fort Mac Valentines. Number 2 was Staying In Tonight. It's a burst pipe situation. Another Fort Mac Valentine. Another one, I Miss You Like Mitchell's, for our 3rd entry today. And finally, revealing and just posting it up onto our social media and adding it to the blog at the website cruiseradio.com right now. Be My RMW Boo. That is probably the most Fort Mac of all the Fort Mac Valentines for this year. Which one's gonna be the one, though? Take your pick. Right now, it's Ghost, Lacrima, and we got Sean taking over at 10, Marina for the 2 to 4 thing after that, and we're getting ready for Valentine's Day proper.
Transmission over. Want more Steve? New podcast episodes happen every Friday, or just tune into the Steve Reeve Show. Weekday mornings starting at 5:30 a.m. on 100.5 Cruise FM.